our Saturday morning time to just show up and be amazing. How about that? So I'm really glad you're here. And I always say beautiful humans, and I mean that because I want you to hear that over and over again so you recognize who you are and that you are a beautiful, beautiful human. So let's just I'm going to continue to let people in, but for you guys for whether you're watching on video, whether you're watching live, here's what I want you to do. Could you just take this few minutes together and let it be a gift to you? Just an absolute gift. Could you relax? Could you let the words just speak to the hope that is inside of you? Could you take these moments to just let the week go? And let the excitement or trepidation of the unknown of tomorrow go. Whichever it might be, right? Could you just exist in this moment, this encounter experience? Could you just be here, be fully here for you? Because I'm here for you. I'm here for you, y'all. Right? And so I want to start today by asking you something I ask every week. And I don't want you to answer it in your head. I just want you to feel it. Feel this question. And that is, could you allow yourself to be exactly as you are right now? Not who you were on the way here. Not who you're trying to become. Not the version of you that has it all together. Not the version that feels like they need to be fixed, feels like there's something wrong. Could you just be exactly as you are right now in this moment? And why do I keep asking that question every time we meet? I ask myself that question every day in some form. Anytime I feel even a little bit of pressure to be something that I'm not, anytime I get caught up in what feels like a fact that speaks to my limitation, you know that feeling, right? Anytime I feel that, I ask myself, could you allow yourself, Erin, could you allow yourself to be exactly as you are right now? And with that question, let's just do a somatic exercise. I just want you to feel where you're sitting or feel where you're laying. Feel the chair underneath you or the bed or the floor. Whatever is holding you right now. I have my feet on the floor. I have a good support on my chair. But right now, could you just let it hold you? You don't have to hold yourself up in here. You don't have to support yourself right here. Something is already doing that. And just knowing that you're supported, you are held, you are here, that is enough. You are enough. And why do we do that very, very simple exercise? Again, something I do all throughout the week, because we're slowing everything down and we're letting our nervous system know that it can stop scanning for safety. If you've been around me enough, and you guys all have, you know our nervous system does brilliant work to keep us alive and to keep us safe. And if it feels like we're not safe, it's constantly scanning it, keeps you on high alert, keeps you in fight or flight, keeps you wondering, am I okay? And so just this moment to go, okay, I feel the chair. I was talking to a dear friend who was in the ER last night and just said, could you just feel the clothing on your skin and just know that you're covered? Let your nervous system know that you're covered, you're safe. And when we do that, those even little subtle somatic exercises signals your body to release and to let go. Yeah? And so as we talked about last week, this speaks volumes to your body and to your nervous system. These tiny little things. And that's why I always start that way, because I'm hoping that you guys will start bringing that into practice. It's great to do in the middle of the craziness of a work week, in the middle of even a difficult family dinner, where you can just go, okay, if you start feeling that urge, right, to start kind of collapsing, just to go, I've noticed this chair. I noticed the ground underneath me. I'm supported. I'm safe. It's a big deal. Yeah. So I want to tell you guys a really cool story. And a few years ago, a man stood in a busy subway in Washington, D.C. during the morning rush. I love this story. He was dressed casually, jeans, t-shirt, baseball cap. He had a violin case. He opened it up and tossed in a few dollars as seed money, as you do, and started to play. And for 45 minutes, some of the most beautiful music ever written. He played Bach. He played Schubert. This wasn't just a casual player. He knew what he was doing, right? And down in the subway, he played on a violin that was worth $3.5 million. Over 1,000 people walked by, and almost nobody stopped. A few kids tugged at their parents wanting to stay and listen, but most of them got pulled along. And when he finished, there was no applause, just the sound of the next train pulling in. That day, he made $32. And here's the thing, that man was Joshua Bell, and he's one of the greatest violinists alive. And 2 nights before, he had performed to a sold-out symphony hall where tickets cost well over $100 each. Probably way more than that. Same man, same violin, same music, but nobody recognized it. So as I was thinking this week about my heart for today, I want to help you recognize what's there. And I don't want to be hard, even in this story, I don't want to be hard on the commuters, right? That I've been there rushing to make the next train. I get it, rush hour, got somewhere to be, coffee hasn't kicked in yet, right? But here's what stopped me about that story was the beauty hadn't changed. The beauty was there. The music hadn't changed. It was there. Only the recognition had. So as I was thinking about this week and thinking about what it looks like to show up to the table of life and knowing, recognizing who we are and what's already in us, that story just resonated with me. And that is exactly what happens with love, y'all. It's not that love goes somewhere, doesn't leave you. Not that it shows up some days and then takes a few days off. But we often can miss it. We're scanning, we're hurrying, we're trying to get somewhere. When we miss that music that's already playing, that love that's already activated. So I just say, what if love isn't hidden? What if it's simply not in the packaging we have expected? So what am I doing today? I want to help pull on your awareness, your recognition right now that every one of you have the love that cannot fail that you need. It's there. It's already in you. Could you just sit with that? And here's something that I want you to understand today. I love these. We're just here. You guys know we're just here just a few minutes. And my hope is that you could let go of yesterday, the frustrations, let go of the thing that's trying to bring itself into this Saturday morning. If you could just let go, be present in this moment, and let me help you unlock your awareness to hear the music in the middle of the subway. If you've never experienced it, I'll never forget one of my first weekends in New York City when I just moved there from Nashville, Tennessee. I had visited a number of times, but I hadn't ever lived there. And I remember being in the subway, so everything was just awesome and big to me, and it was just new. It's so different than this Texas girl, right, had experienced growing up. And I can remember a similar story that happened to me. I was walking and there was this guy playing the violin, and it was so good. And I stood as long as I could, but I didn't want to be late to my next meeting. And I was blown away by I mean, I'm not a violinist, but I know good music when I hear it. And this guy he had skills. And I remember being so aware that no matter how loud the subway is coming in and the crowds and the noise and everybody talking, that the sweetness of that sound followed me down 2 flights of stairs as I went to catch my subway. And I could still hear it. Why? Because it was different. It stood apart. It was a different frequency than the other frequency in that loud, crazy, crowded subway. And so when I think about that in love, and I think about the frequency of love and what we get to experience together today, here's what I want you to understand. There are 2 ways to know something. You can know it in your head, or you can know it in your bones, right? Like, I feel it in my bones, you're about to move. Like, feel it, know it, right? Like, head knowing is real. It's useful. I'm not knocking it. Head knowing is how you pass a test, how you follow a recipe, how you make a plan, right? But in your bones knowing, felt knowing, that's different. That's the kind of knowing that changes everything. And you can read about sunlight, or you can step outside and let it hit you in the face. You know what I'm saying? Those are not the same experience. And this is why we take these moments together on a Saturday morning or wherever you are watching on YouTube. And a lot of us have been told we're loved. If you've been around me, you've heard me say, you're so loved. And in some days, you're like, I know I am. And on other days, I don't really know it, right? We've heard it in church. We've read it in books. You've been to church with Aaron, like we may have even said it out loud. I believe I'm loved. Check. Yes, I believe I'm accepted. Check, check. But knowing it is a whole different thing. And knowing it when there's no more gap, right? Like knowing it is like, now I don't see love is here and me is here and there's a huge gap. And so the more and more we talk about this, again, why am I here? To help close the gap. When it's not something you have to remind yourself of, like I don't have to remind myself of the sun, right? It's there. Whether it's even bright or not, it's always there. When it's just true, like love is true. It's the truest thing we have going. Like the ground under your feet is true. It's true, right? That's why we're here. Not more information, but recognition. So even right now, just put your hand on your heart and just say, I choose to recognize the love that's here. Yeah. And here's the beautiful thing. Most of you already know what it feels like. You've been there. You just don't fully have a name for it. And it doesn't always feel steady. And let me take you back to when you were a little kid. You've probably heard me growing up, and I know we all come from different backgrounds, but for me, I grew up with a big backyard. I mean, gigantic, sprawling, enormous backyard. It was actually really tiny. Dad's probably sitting there going, what, girl, you never had a gigantic, sprawling backyard? And I didn't, because it was actually really tiny. There was no forest, no river, there wasn't even a creek. There was a beat up little playhouse that came with the house, and I loved it. And there was one, probably more of a bush than a tree in Texas, that I used to walk through when it rained, and it created probably about a 6-inch to a foot trench in the mud. But you could not have proven that by me. In my backyard, there were castles. In my backyard, there were deep, dark forests where princes and princesses rode horses and jumped over huge rivers. Probably because my mama read the Chronicles of Narnia to me, so you probably see where that imagery, where it's coming from. But I created whole worlds in that tiny space. And they were completely, absolutely real. To me, do you guys know what I'm talking about when you were kids? Your imagination was real. I was the princess. I was it, man. Why? Because I didn't know that I was limited. I didn't know that I actually had a really tiny backyard. I didn't know that I couldn't just create realms that I could be the princess over. Didn't know that I was limited, right? Then I was a fashion designer, and my sweet mama would make all my dresses one of a kind because I designed them. Poor thing. And she did not, and she let me know this, how much she did not enjoy sewing. But we would go out and pick a pattern. Y'all don't even, probably a lot of you guys don't even know what that looked like, but you would actually go to a fabric store and there were these just patterns and you could pick your dress and you would go and pick your fabric and pick the trim. Well, I would pick about 2 or 3 things and be like, I want the top of this, the midsection of this, and the bottom of this. And my poor mom, but to me, I was a designer. I designed all my clothes. And the thing is I couldn't just be stuck to one pattern, right? Because I didn't know I was limited. I always wanted to change this and that. And about halfway through, she'd say, I'm never doing this again. Because I'm seriously, like, she'd be halfway through and I'd be like, what if we did this instead? But the fact is, I didn't know that we really didn't have money. I didn't go buy a bunch of dresses because we didn't have the funds at that time to do that. I thought I was just a designer who had my own seamstress, right? That childlike freedom, that unlabeled, unguarded, uncompared, right? I just wasn't comparing what I had to anything else or didn't have. I didn't know to, right? It was felt knowing. That's what I'm talking about. That knowing that's inside of you, that home. That's home. We've talked about here at Encounter, like, I want love, who you are as love, to be home base. And so those moments were so real until they were adulticized. That's probably not a word. I make up words. Until I was adulticized out of it, right? We weren't searching for it. We weren't trying to get somewhere. We just were. Do you guys have that? You have those stories that you can remember, like, yeah, I remember a time when I just fully believed I could do anything. And here's what I want you to hear, and I want you to really hear this. You didn't lose it. You just got talked out of it. You got talked out of your awareness of not having limits. Your awareness of unconditional love that couldn't fail. And so this whole thing, this whole encounter thing, every Saturday, what we do in this space is not about finding something new. It's about coming back to what's always been true about you. Even if you've been walking with me for a long time, I know what happens throughout the week. I know things come up and you're like, well, surely I can't put that in the unfailing love category because it has failure on it. Or surely I can't put that in the unconditional love thing because there's lots of conditions, right? Someone once said, and I cannot remember where this quote came from, said, when you find yourself wanting love, know that it is like a lake looking for water. That's the whole thing in one line. A lake looking for water. You were never without it. You were made of it. And this is what we were doing as children without knowing it. We weren't looking for water. We were just being the lake. We were just happily being the lake. So can I just give you permission to be the lake today? Can I give you permission to let go of the search for love and just be it? Exactly as you are. No fixing needed. Just you here, fullness. Yeah? So there came a moment in my life, and I've shared a little parts of my story each week, but there came a moment in my life where I had an encounter with love. I've shared that with you guys. You've heard that. But it was like the capital L, like the capital love, the person of love. And it changed everything. And as I was thinking about that pivotal moment for me, it wasn't that love showed up and I suddenly felt it. Oh, finally, God decided this is the moment. This is the moment when I'm going to reveal love to Erin. Hope she's listening. Man, maybe she's in a good emotional state to be able to receive my love. No. there was just a moment when I stopped everything, and it's like I made room. I chose. It was almost clinical, y'all. I simply chose to believe and let go of anything else that contradicted it. I think, maybe I call it the end of my rope moment, call it desperation, call it, all I knew is how I had been living thus far. I wasn't super interested in sticking with that. And I knew that there was so much fear. And I had all of these beliefs, right? Things I had been told, messages I had been presented, things I had decided about myself already, things I had convinced myself this is just how it is. This is just true, right? All of them were in the way of me knowing, like knowing it. And somebody needs to hear this. This shift wasn't, okay, now believe harder, strive harder. It was, what if I let go of everything else and just try one thing? It really was that. I was created for love. That's all. And what if I believed that beyond anything else? And what if anything that ever contradicted that unconditional love that doesn't leave a lot of room for judgment, what if I could actually believe that I was created to receive it? Just that. Not to earn it, not to deserve it, not to understand it first. Just receive it. And that was the choice. It felt like a dramatic moment, but it wasn't really this big dramatic moment. It was kind of quiet. I was sitting on the edge of my bed going, all right, I'm going to stop arguing and just let this be true. And something shifted. Actually, everything shifted for me that day. And the beautiful thing that happens when you know how loved you are, really know it, like in your bones, is that you can't help but extend it. Like, I didn't start out by going, I'm going to be the most loving person in the world. No, I knew how to love people. I was horrible at loving myself. I'm sure I could hear people going, yeah, I completely understand that. And it's like when you actually choose to receive love and be the best receiver of God's love you've ever met, you will then start seeing people differently. Unconditional love will mean something beyond a church service, beyond a sermon, beyond a song. You start moving through the world differently. You start having a boldness in it because you recognize the beauty that you are, and love just comes out. Love leaks, y'all, because it's already what you're made of. That's what I just want you in these few minutes that we're together. Just know how loved you are, and you can't help but love. So I want to tell you about Times Square. There's a number of people here that I know you know Times Square very well, and you probably avoid it. I didn't avoid Times Square. I loved it, and if you've been there, you know. Imagine every person, every noise, every light you've ever seen crammed in one intersection, running at full volume all at once. At all hours. 3 o'clock in the morning, it's the same at 11 o'clock at night. Like, it's just chaos, right? And there's languages you've never heard. Every language ever spoken is there, right there. It's pure sensory overload, and I love it. But there are red steps in the middle of it. Alicia Keys, if you ever saw the Alicia Keys video in New York, right there. And I love to go sit on those stairs, especially late at night when I was by myself, because I always had to pass through Times Square pretty much wherever I was going to get home because the bus station was right there. So I would go sit on those stairs overlooking thousands, I'm not exaggerating, thousands of people just milling around. And I would choose right there in the middle of it all to get completely still. I'd close my eyes, I'd breathe, and I would let love cocoon me. I would just imagine being fully immersed in love. That's the only word I have for it, is cocooned. Safe, held, right? And right there in the loudest, most chaotic place I know, it worked every time. I did it on the subways, which if you've ridden in a New York City subway, you know it's truly an act of faith to be able to do that. I did it at St. Patrick's Cathedral, which is the opposite of a subway, but with soaring ceilings and dim lights and this kind of sacred hush thing going on. And I love to go in there, same experience, completely different address, and experience the love that I was. And sometimes I would bring people with me, and we'd go to the top of the steps, specifically the top, so nobody could come up behind us. Helps you feel a little bit safer. And we'd just sit there together, 2 or 3 of us, and we would create this moment right there in Times Square, right there in a subway, or right there at St. Patrick's Cathedral, wherever we could do it. We would just be cocooned. And that's what I learned from all of those moments that, and this is where I want to take us home today. You cannot be in a place where love is not available. It doesn't exist. You can only be somewhere you haven't practiced recognizing it yet. So for me, because I'm so like squirrel, all the place, like it was important for me to practice this intentionality of receiving the love of God in the most chaotic places. I was brought up as a, young Christian girl, like you had to have your quiet time in the morning. And I always felt bad because I didn't really like getting up early in the morning and praying for hours. I'd fall asleep. And so for me to practice intentional love, receiving love in the middle of the chaos was very unique. And we're not looking for the light bulb, y'all. We're not looking for that lightning bolt that goes, da 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 da. I have finally received love. I finally had my encounter with love that Aaron talks about. No, you're here today to have a love encounter, a love invasion, not an invasion from outside, an invasion from inside, not reserved for the especially spiritual ones. No, it's practice. It's us choosing it. It's us returning to it. And the more you return, the more natural it becomes. Times Square, the subway, your kitchen on a hard Tuesday morning, your car in the middle of traffic. That's another place, man. When there's crazy traffic, I love to connect with peace, like truly embody peace, realizing there's nothing I can do about this, and it's okay. It's all okay. The bed, when your mind finally shuts down, but then the accusations. Does anybody else have that on at nighttime when the accusations kind of start like? When treat it like. Remember, go with me on those red steps in the middle of Times Square when all the chaos comes, knowing that love is already there. And it's just, do I choose to recognize it? God is love, and He is the I am that I am. Love is the I am that I am. God created me in His image. The I am of love is me, is you. And one of the other places that I just want to take us for these few minutes is, because if you came here today, maybe you're carrying something heavy. Maybe there's a situation in your family that you've been praying over, you've been holding love, keeping your love on, doing all the things, but you haven't fully seen the outcome you want to. Maybe there's a physical issue that has kind of stopped you in your tracks. Maybe there's something in the world that's been tight in your chest, right? Something dark that you've been trying not to look at. And I just want to talk about that. When you know you're held, when you know you're loved, y'all, and the way we've been talking about love is something incredible becomes yours. It becomes tangible. It becomes possible. It becomes evident. Because you're held, you can now hold. Even in the hard place. Even in the hard situation. When a room that's so polarized doesn't feel like a safe place anymore. But when you come into that place and you're already held in love, you then become the space that love moves through. Right? not the person that needs everything to calm down before they can access peace, but the person who brings peace into whatever is not calm. I'm just tagging you in for this because I'm just here to remind you of what I know is you. This is you. And here's what it looks like practically. You're watching something chaotic unfold in your family, in the news, in a conversation, in the middle of a crowded area. And instead of tightening, instead of bracing, you breathe. And you say, not outside necessarily, or maybe sometimes, just saying yourself, this too is held in love. I see it. I include it. I choose love that can't fail. I choose worthiness, even here. Love is bigger than this. I recorded a short message for my friend who found herself in the ER for the third time and not in a short amount of time. And I was like, could you allow yourself to be exactly as you are and even love the place you are? And she's like, that's a tall order. That is a lot you're asking me to do. But what I know is that when we recognize that even here, even this place that I did not ask for, that I do not want to be, when I choose to see that worthiness, I'm worthy to receive love even here. That love is so much bigger than this. Not later, not for when it's resolved, but right now, right here, in the middle of it. Y'all, this is not spiritual bypassing. I don't know if y'all have heard that. It's kind of a big thing. You know, is this bypassing? Is this emotional bypassing? Is it spiritual bypassing? No. This is not pretending the hard thing isn't hard. I'm not saying that at all. This is becoming the mountain, becoming steady and unshaken while the weather moves through it. This is Jesus asleep in the boat. Asleep. Sleeping. He didn't need to tell the storm to go because he was asleep. He was fine. He knew where he was going. Where are you this morning? You don't have to pretend this hard thing, this physical that feels like a huge limitation isn't hard. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, where are you in the midst of it? There's a movie I love called August Rush. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's just one of my favorites. You can tell I've been thinking about New York. But there's a line in it where I think about all the time this little kid who's just a savant. Like he's just, I don't even know if that's the right word, but he's amazing. Like he's just a natural, it's in him. Music is in him. And this line says, the music is all around us. All you have to do is listen. That's love, y'all. Love is like that. It's already in the room. It's already in the hard conversation. It's already in the scary diagnosis. It's in the fractured relationship. It doesn't leave when things get dark. Well, I was getting ready this morning. A thought of someone who I'm not real super connected to right now. They chose to go a different direction. And I remember just praying for her this morning and just seeing her healed. Just seeing her so cocooned in love and seeing the transformation and it affecting everything about her. And it was just so beautiful for me to be able to give love in that moment that in the past could have felt dark. Love includes all of it. And it transforms all of it. It doesn't mean that everyone agrees. It doesn't mean that the hard thing disappears. It means that you no longer need to disappear in order to live in peace. Yeah, babe, I hear you. To be honest, I struggle to feel love inside of me. And this is where, thank you for your honesty, babe. This is where we choose in this moment to go, okay, whether I feel it or not, I'm choosing to believe that love can't fail. There's no mechanism for failure in love. I was made in the image of love. So I'm choosing right now, in the midst of the hard thing, where agreement is no longer a requirement for connection, where judgment dissolves into compassion. Part of the reason why we have a hard time feeling love sometimes is because we've been taught to judge ourselves so harshly, way more harshly than we would ever judge anybody else. And we wait to feel and experience love until the situation has changed, until I'm better. So I don't have anything left to judge. Well, y'all, we're never going to not have something to judge if judgment is the priority. Well, when love doesn't judge at all, love accepts, all of a sudden, this place where we're standing changes because of where we're standing. And so I don't want you to even look at, oh, I want to get there, Aaron. I want to get there. Pray for me. This is so hard. This is frustrating. I just want you to know, y'all, healing doesn't always mean something changes out there or even how you feel. It means that you change where you're standing in here. And what I know about you and everyone here is you being here today is a move forward into that recognition, that awareness, hearing that violin player in the midst of the subway of the chaos, choosing to hear the song that's inside of you, choosing to recognize this girl keeps talking about this love thing and she's been talking about it for years, but I haven't had that encounter. Maybe the reason I don't fully understand this is because I haven't had that encounter yet. I just want you to know, y'all, you are the encounter. You don't have to wait for the encounter. Now, as I look back on my life, as starting off even as a kid, even when there were some really hard things, there was something in me that believed in something bigger than me. There was something in me, and until I really started judging myself and started picking myself apart and realizing the only reason I could label myself as a perfectionist was because I was working and striving so hard to be a people pleaser. Period. So that wasn't love. I wasn't experiencing love. I didn't feel love, but there was still something in me that knew there had to be something bigger than my failure. And that's what I want today. And I just wanted this moment together. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. If not, just kind of soften your gaze. But would you just feel where you're sitting? Feel what's holding you. Let it hold you. That signals to your nervous system, okay, I'm in receiving mode. And just bring to mind something that feels heavy right now. Maybe it's exactly, hey, I don't really feel love. I have a hard time with this. Maybe it's something really tense. Maybe you're divided. Maybe there's something in your life. Maybe there's a relationship that feels unresolved. Don't try to fix it. Just let it be here. Even let the feeling of, I'm not sure I know how to feel love. Could you just even let that feeling be here right now? Now kind of imagine yourself stepping back from that feeling just a little bit. You're not removing, you're just stepping back enough to see it from a higher place. And let's look through love. The same love that cocooned me on the steps in Times Square. The same love that was always in you before anybody told you otherwise. See it touching every side of that hard place. See love cocooning. Could you even love how it feels to not feel love? This is where we make these conscious choices of awareness, even the parts that are in the shadow, even the parts, especially the parts that are in the shadow, the places that feel really dark. And just say this with me right now. I choose to see through love's eyes. I choose to see through love's eyes. I hold this in the light of wholeness. Even this, what's going on in my world, I hold this in the light of wholeness. I'm not bypassing, I'm just choosing to see through love that can't fail, because love includes even this. Love transforms right here as we are. And through love, I am free. Could you just put your hand on your chest and just say, okay, I'm free. I'm free to receive your love. And y'all, hear me. Hear me, you beautiful, beautiful humans. You are not broken. You never were. You are not on your way to being loved. You already are. You're not searching for home. You're already home. You're here in the home of unconditional love. Whether you fully have the experience of it, I rarely feel much of anything. But I know that I know that I know. And that knowing is the experience where I live. And so before we go, I'm wrapping this thing up. I see you. I want to say your name because you matter. You are known. And love knows your name, Aisha. Love that cannot fail knows your name. Catherine, you're seen. You're known. Love is already there inside of you. Chrissy, unconditional love with no judgment is not only just in you, it is you. Vicky, love, even in the darkest place, the hardest place, love can't fail. It won't ever fail you. Jim, Dad, you are safe and you are supplied, fully supplied in love that has no mechanism for failure. Mary, to know the infinite love of God cocooning your entire body from head to toe in love that can't fail. Terry, you are loved. Every fiber of your being, every part of you is wrapped up, cocooned. It is love that cannot fail. Y'all, every one of you, and whoever's watching this later on, just know you're known, you're seen. Love is everything. And it works. It will never fail you. And so, y'all, I just want to wrap this morning up just to say, I love you. I see you. And I see within you an ability to see beyond the noise, even the noise in your own mind, even there. Yeah? All right, y'all. Hey, listen, I know you guys all signed up from when you get the reminders from stopthebodywar.com and Encounter, and I'm so glad you did. If you want to invite anybody, man, send them this link. If you know of anyone that would like to be a part of this, I'm going to put this, I know you know it, but I'm going to put this right there. Guys, thank you for being here today, but thank you for being here for